Welcome back to Build It Yourself, guys. It's 2025 and this is the year we're finally gonna drive the Lincoln Continental. We're for real this time. If you're new here, make sure to smash that subscribe button because you're not gonna wanna miss it. Let's take a second to look at what we got here. It took us 1.5 years to build this 40 valve V10 right here in this garage. At the end of last year, we fired this thing up on the engine stand. Pissed off a couple neighbors, but that's okay. Immediately after, we started cutting up the car to get this massive thing to fit in here. Obviously, this is not a front wheel drive Lincoln Continental anymore. We got a rear subframe from a Mustang. We got 6-speed manual transmission, and obviously the magnificent, huge 40 valve V10 fitting in here. It actually fits better than I remember, those headers. And in this video, we're gonna ruin it.
Okay, no, we're not actually going to ruin the car, but we are going to get started on what seems to be the most controversial thing we've done since starting the build, and that's the air suspension. When we revealed the render a couple of videos ago, everyone seemed to basically hate the fact that the car was sitting on bags. Now, the car is obviously not going to be sitting on the ground like that all the time, and that's really the benefit of air suspension. We can set it down on the ground if we're at a car show and we want to have it at that stance, or we can raise it up when we go to the track, when we go cruising down the road. That's basically what we wanted to get from the air suspension. We think it's the perfect fit for this car. Now, this is everything we need to get that to work. We bought ourselves an air suspension kit that comes with a tank, it comes with some brackets, we have an air compressor, of course, and we have the management system that's going to require quite a bit of plumbing and electrical work to get that to work. So we're gonna be plumbing all that in this video. This is an air suspension kit for an S550 Mustang. We got a heck of a deal on this on Marketplace a couple of months ago, and it came with front and rear stuff, so we decided to just go for it. Now, this is obviously not a S550 Mustang, but as Jack mentioned earlier, both the rear and front subframes and all the suspension components are from a Mustang. So this is basically going to be bolt-on. Along with the air suspension, we're going to be installing these really cool AAD performance suspension links. So the boys over at AAD hooked us up. They sent us basically every single link that they have available for the S550 rear suspension. I cannot wait to see how they look with everything installed on the rear. So we have a lot of work to do in this video. I think enough talking for now. Let's get to work.
So we have a few components we need to mount. We got this massive tank, we got the module, we have the tank, the compressor, and we got to mount the 12-volt battery because we wanted that mounted in the rear of the car. So we went back and forth on locations where we want to put it. There's a spare tire in the back that we could use, but it won't fit that big tank in there and everything, so we decided not to go there. We were also thinking of just mounting it in the trunk exposed, but we don't really want that type of look. We still want to have a functional, usable trunk. So what we've settled on doing here is actually behind the rear seats, but not necessarily in the trunk. There's quite a bit of room here. So we're going to mount all the components in here, and that's going to allow us to create a fake wall in the trunk. So when you pop the trunk, you won't be able to see all the air suspension, which is what we want to go for. We don't want to have like a, too showy, gaudy look.
So let's, I think we know where we're going to mount this. We've kind of already secured a spot, so
we're starting with the tank. Got this aluminum one-piece tank. And the plan is to have this guy sitting up here.
There's a flange there where all the trim is kind of clipped onto, and we're just going to use that along with this. There's like a cross member all the way up the top right in front of the speaker there, and it's like a perfect spot for the tank to sit in.
So have the tank here, the module down here, all the air lines going in here, and then the battery on this side blocked off, compressor on this side blocked off, so everything should look really clean and be pretty sick.
To make installation easy, we mounted studs on the body flange to allow us to hang the tank. For the rear mounts, we decided to use riv nuts on the cross member.
Since the tank was hanging in position, all we had to do was mark the location of the mounts, drill a couple of holes, and use the riv nut tool to fix the nuts to the crossmember. We also decided to retire the recycled bolts and nuts bucket and bought a bunch of brand new hardware from McMaster, so everything is going to match and look fresh.
There it is. Tank is fully mounted. Nice and solid. So here we have the 2 ports. This is what's going to go to that manifold. All right, so we're going to get ready to mount this piece of MDF wood, which is what we're going to be mounting pretty much all the suspension stuff in here. So the compressor, that module we have, the manifold, and also the battery. Jack went ahead and welded the brackets to the bodies, so they're basically just locating this piece of wood on the car, and then most of the wood is supported on the trunk side. There's like a little bulge on the body that this is supported on. So now that everything's welded to the body, we're gonna go ahead and mount this on there. We're gonna secure it with some nuts, and then we're gonna figure out where everything else is gonna be bolted to. We're gonna start with the compressor, I think. We have some special nuts we're gonna put on the back side of this to then mount the compressor on the wood. This is where we're thinking we're gonna mount it. So I already marked the mounting locations for the compressor. So now all we have to do is drill a couple holes, and we're gonna be using these T-nuts on the back side of the wood to thread into. So everything's gonna be securely mounted to the wood with this.
To mount the T-nuts, all we had to do was drill a couple of holes, then insert the nuts from the backside and hammer them on until they sat flush with the wood. The compressor came with these trick-looking isolation mounts, which will hopefully reduce the noise while the compressor is running.
All right, compressor is fully mounted. So that's nice and solid there. Now the next step will be mounting that manifold or battery, but we have some really cool 3D printed aluminum parts we're waiting on. So we're gonna get to that a little bit later in the video. For now, we're actually gonna move on to installing all the air suspension components.
Ooh, our pissies?
Yeah, our PCs?
Pissies, right?
PCs?
Pissy?
Yeah, also known for pneumatic suspensions Inc.
Pissy.
So that's the brand of airbags we got. We're gonna start with the front because we think that's gonna be the more challenging part, because this does not match the top hat on the Continental. So let's drop that shock on there and see what else we're gonna have to do to get these mounted.
Magna Ride out. So here we got the stock Lincoln Continental top hat that we put on the Magna Ride GT500 strut, but now we're going to the pissies here, and you can see this has a Mustang S550 top hat, and we have a few differences here. This is kind of like rounded, and it's got stud or bolts here going in instead of the studs, and the spacing is not the same as this, and we want to have the adjustability for our camber in the right direction. So we have to play around with this, see if we could get that top hat in the Continental to fit. We're gonna unbolt this top hat and see how far off we are. So the plan is to use the top hats as we got from the pissies. So this is the Mustang bolt pattern. We think it'll just be easier in the future if we want to change the shocks to anything else, to just have it be the Mustang pattern. So we're going to modify the shock tower to receive this bolt pattern. So we drilled up a couple holes here that lines up with this, and the goal is we position this to give us as much caster and to get camber that equals the GT500 camber, and then we could, play with it, fine tune it up here. But that's why it's kind of pushing this rearward and more inboard from the original Continental position. So you'll see that once we get that mounted up. But now the plan is to weld up all these holes so we could have a nice smooth surface here. Then we'll finish re-drilling these holes to accept this, and we could travel the suspension. Once we had our new pilot holes drilled out, we went ahead and welded shut the stock holes where the Continental struts mounted, as we didn't want a bunch of random holes on the shock tower. After a bit of grinding and sanding, we drilled out the new holes to receive the Mustang top hats. To get back some of the camber we lost from the Continental's wider shock tower separation, we ground a larger slot on the shock bodies and welded up the slot enough so the bolt head would clamp on metal all the way around.
Airbags going in.
We were able to hit our target of about 2 degrees of negative camber.
All right, before we continue, let's take a second and thank today's video sponsor, Brunt. They hooked us up and sent over a pair of their Marin work boots. I've actually been wearing these for the past week, and I gotta say, they're looking pretty good. And today is a big day because we finally get to see Jack wearing shoes without duct tape.
Dude, this still has some life left in it. Come on, man.
It's embarrassing going anywhere with you wearing those goddamn shoes.
Calm down. Man, why do these things smell so good?
It's the fresh leather, my friend.
It's nice and snug. Yeah, dude, these actually feel really comfortable. It's not just the ad buzzword. They actually feel like they're broken in. Yeah, all right. Yeah, dude, super comfortable.
Yeah, and honestly, it's nice to know that I don't have to worry about eating it on my way here because it's super slippery outside.
Oh yeah,
And,
they got good traction.
right? Yeah, they have pretty good traction, even in the ice.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think these had very good traction.
Yeah, I don't think the duct tape helps.
I was reading these things are supposed to be super durable, so I won't have to be taping these up anytime soon.
Not only are they durable, but they also offer a great value for the price. And Brunt even offers a risk-free trial, which means you can wear the shoes, and if you don't like them, you can ship them back, and they'll cover the return shipping.
Dude, I don't even feel anything. Nothing.
So that's a sweet deal for some great boots, and if you want to check them out, make sure you use our code BuilderYourself10 to get $10 off your first order, or you can use the link in the description. That's BuilderYourself10 to get $10 off your first order. Thanks to Brunt for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to the build. All right, guys, we just finished up mounting front shocks. Looks good. We haven't done any adjustments yet.
Looks good except for the pre-rust here.
Yeah, well, we have to clean this up. We got to clean everything up. So everything's rusted. This bearing, the studs are
Oh my,
bent.
the bearing, you can't see
It
that.
doesn't matter. I can see it.
You can't.
Anyways, we're done with this. We're not going to make any adjustments because we want to wait for the tires to get here so we can mount them on the wheels, bolt them up, and then we can see how everything's fitting. Fingers crossed the wheels we got actually fit. So now we're going to move on to the rear and bolt on all those beautiful control arms we got from AAD. Seems like we've been talking about these parts for the past, 3 videos or so. And we're finally going to install them in the car. We're ready to get all the suspension upgraded to these AAD all aluminum links. They're pretty lightweight, at least compared to the stock ones. And they look pretty cool. I like the pockets in all of them. And one of the things that we just found out, and that's just based on our quick Google, so don't hate us if that's not the fact, but these are the only all aluminum adjustable camber links that we could find for this platform. So that's pretty cool.
I think it's enabled by this like adjustment. You know, it doesn't use Heim joints.
Yeah, right. So you have these inserts, and this basically slides in and out, and that's how they're adjusted. The camber link is like that. The toe link is like that. So I think we're going to leave that adjustments like the front till after we have the wheels. But for now, let's throw all these in the car.
Removing all the stock links didn't come without its issues. This is a 10-year-old rear subframe after all. We found one of the bearings was busted, so we had to add that to the list of things to replace. And of course, one of the axle nuts had been tightened by the Hulk himself, so it took quite a few attempts before Jack got it to go, after I had already loosened it, of course.
Oh, that's how it's done right there.
Thankfully, the rest of the links in the shock came out with relative ease. We did have to lower the subframe in order to get to the bolt holding the camber link to the subframe. The subframe down also made it much easier to remove the spring.
Oh yeah.
Bad?
Yeah. Someone rounded that.
Yeah. Fortunately, we were able to break all 4 bearing bolts loose without any special tools. Just need to be careful not to make it worse during reassembly. We sprayed a bit of WD-40 on the bearing and gave it some much needed hammer love. We won't need this where we're going. Since we didn't get to use it in the last video, we decided to whip out our Temu Loctite, aka Luleful, to use on the bearing bolts. We'll find out if this was a bad idea in the near future. Finally, time to clean up this rear subframe with new and shiny parts. The AAD links come with their own hardware and installation instructions, so that makes life much easier. Since the adjustments come from the links themselves, they provide subframe inserts that block the slots for camber and toe adjustments on the subframe. The rear backs are much shorter than the stock springs, which almost make it look like something is missing, but remember, there is no air in the bags and the suspension is fully drooped, so we just need to secure it in place and wait until everything is reassembled to see the full picture. Before mounting the shocks, we replaced the top mounts since the ones that came out of the Mustang subframe were busted. The last link to go on is the sway bar link, and after a quick torque down, everything is ready and looking fresh as hell.
Huge shout out to AD for sending all these links. They look amazing on here. They really stiffen up the suspension. So can't wait to feel how this feels on the road. But now we're gonna put it down and work on getting the airlines routed to all the bags. We have a couple of things we're gonna mount on the inside. We were waiting for the aluminum brackets to come in, but we're just gonna put in plastic brackets for now that we 3D printed. Get everything mounted up, route everything, and she'll be ready to go down. So we put the 3D printer to work. We got a few things to mount. First, we got our fancy Braille 15-pound AGM battery. I don't know why did you get this?
Because lightweight.
Yeah, because we're building a race car over here, a lightweight race car.
With air suspension.
Yeah, that's why we need a 15-pound battery.
Exactly.
So we got this bracket that's gonna get mounted to the plate, and we have this hold down, all 3D printed. It's a new adventure we haven't really printed.
Seems pretty sturdy,
I
right?
mean,
It's
yeah,
not gonna
it
be a
does.
problem,
Once these
so.
bolt down, there's not even a metal insert. It actually holds everything pretty well. Then we got a couple cool bits. I didn't want to show this, but these are what we were getting in aluminum made up. So this is going to mount to that piece of...
This is just for mock-up, right? This is plastic for now because we don't have the aluminum parts yet.
Yeah, we're getting those 3D printed out of aluminum. We're going to mount this block up to this. So this is the controller. And we'll have the airlines coming down into this bulkhead for all these airlines to go to the car each corner.
Start with the battery?
Let's start with the battery. Easy. While we have plastic 3D printed a whole bunch of parts for mock-up in the past, we haven't actually used any of those parts for structural purposes. So this will be our first. We are able to add a holder for our fuse and relay right into the box, so it should make our setup look cleaner. It seems very sturdy. Hopefully I won't eat those words later as the battery flies out during our 10-second rip down the track. With the battery secured, it's time to move on to the heart of the air system. The controller and bulkhead flange will mount front and center, right below the air tank. So we position our brackets and mark the mounting locations. We're using the same style T-nuts to mount all the stuff to the base, as it'll make removal and reassembly much easier down the line. We had to make a slot to allow the bulkhead to fit flush with the wood. With these nice button head cap screws, it should look good. These are the compression fittings that allow us to seal to the lines we need to make up next. Alright, so we got everything now mounted up on our plate here, so this is pretty much everything that's going to sit here. Now we're going to route the lines from this box to our bulkhead, and we want these to look nice, so we're going to do it out of aluminum so we can polish it up and make them nice and beautiful.
Alright, we just finished up our first attempt at hand bending something, and
Yeah, more organic shapes.
yeah, we didn't really want
This
any
guy
straight
wants to be
lines.
an artist over
Yeah,
here.
we're going air suspension.
I wanted straight lines.
This guy wanted race car. I want air suspension.
Lincoln.
Lincoln. So it's kind of this shape. Now the challenge is going to be getting something that resembles this on this side and then mirroring everything on the other side. But I think it's close enough. And we got to polish this, make it look nice. So one down, 3 more to go.
You already decided we're not doing straight lines? Let me make one straight line.
Okay, all right, fine. Let's see. We'll let you guys decide. Next video, we'll change everything up. Or we might go coilovers. Who knows?
We'll drop a video. I messed up. We decided to go with the organic curve shapes, and it turns out it wasn't as difficult as we thought it would be. Cutting the lines to be the same length at the start helped ensure the end result was symmetrical and matched. For the lines going to the tank, we started off with a rubber hose to get an idea of the shape we needed, then replicated that on the aluminum line. So we got the airlines mostly made up now. We got it from the tank to the box and the box to the bulkhead. Now we got to take the bulkhead and distribute it out to each wheel end for each of the airbags. So we got some nylon hose that we're going to run to each corner. We're going to go through these grommets to hit to the front of the car on each side. And then in the trunk, there's 2 more that we could drop down and come to the rear airbags. So that shouldn't take too long. We just got to cut it to length, route it, and figure out how we're going to retain it to the vehicle so it doesn't get chafed on anything. But once that's done, we just have to hook up power to this thing, and we'll be able to put
Finally
it on the floor,
drop it down.
on all 4 wheels.
We got to
and
tighten everything,
tires.
and we still got to
Yeah, we
replace
gotta-
all those plastic pieces with the actual metal
Oh
parts.
yeah, when are those coming?
I don't know. It hasn't moved to really the needle, so it might be next week, hopefully. But we were lucky enough to find grommets in the perfect spot to run our lines out to the wheel ends. We pushed our line through, reinstalled the grommet, and left enough length on the inside to get us to the bulkheads. On the outside, we just needed to measure the length to reach the compressor fittings on the bags, then cut them to length, and the job was done. For the front lines, we found a grommet located under the rear seats, so we ran our lines through that grommet, under the car, all the way to the front bags, where they attached to the braided hose on the front bags.
All right, we got all the lines put in, but as you notice, the board is out of here. So now we're back here, and we're trying to make it look presentable, let's say. So we got a few pieces of wood we're gonna cut up. We got an idea we're gonna execute here. Don't look, but trust us, it's gonna be sick. Cue the B-roll. We decided to let our artistic side out for this one, as it was gonna be a key part of the air suspension setup. It took us about a week to decide on what to do, but once we agreed on the direction, we put our heads down and gave this wooden base a complete makeover. Bringing out the woodworking tools. Oh, and we finally got those 3D printed aluminum pieces, which means it was time to assemble everything and get it ready for the air suspension noises. Whew. So there we have it, guys. We got it all back from the upholstery shop. We made these 3 pieces up, got this whole thing mounted. We got the real aluminum Oh, you can't hear them now, but the real aluminum metal pieces, we got these 3D printed out of, aluminum, and they came out pretty cool. That was something we haven't done yet, use aluminum for 3D printing, so that was nice to see. We kind of brushed all these lines, got everything tightened together now, so all we have to do is throw this back into the car, run the lines to the tank, and we're going to be able to test this guy out. But before we do that, we have something else to test out.
Cherry
Diego,
on top.
go hit the lights.
Hit the lights. All right, do
Right.
it. Nice. Yeah, that looks really, really nice.
So again, this is going to be behind the seats. So if we want to show this off, we got to lay a seat down, and you can see it through the back window because there's going to be a wall back here. It's a little overkill, but I think it was fun.
The lights are like reflecting on the tubes, and it
Oh,
makes this
yeah?
really cool pattern.
We didn't see it with the tubes yet.
Yeah,
that's
this is our
pretty
first
sick.
time looking at it with the tubes
You
on.
see it like lights up
Yeah,
here,
the
right
V10
here.
logo, of
Yeah,
course.
that's
We added
cool.
that. Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, so this is gonna be a really nice touch,
Yeah.
right? You know, it's gonna be hidden most of the time, but you know, if we want to
You know,
flex a little bit, you know, drop the seats down and you can see the cool stuff. So
Yeah. All right, so let's
All
get
right.
this thing in the car because I want to see this on the ground finally.
let's do it. Alrighty, everything is bolted up on the car now. It's looking great. And Jack, I think, just finished up wiring up the harness, so we should be ready to give it power and test the system.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you?
I don't know.
This is gonna be the first time we power it up and actually test
So it should.
for leaks. Hopefully none.
The compressor's going to come on, fill the tank,
Fill the tank.
and then it'll shut off once it
Yeah,
hits
it should.
pressure.
Hopefully.
Here we go.
I don't know what that noise was, but oh, okay, the light is green. For some reason, I thought it was white. Okay.
Oh, this didn't turn on.
Do you have to turn it on manually, or I'm not getting power in the remote? We gotta figure that out. But I don't hear any leaks, which is good. I wonder if it needs some kind
I
of.
hear a leak now.
You do?
Yeah.
Here, right there. Okay, there you go.
Did you tighten that one?
I did.
Oh.
Actually, it looks pretty sick with the lights.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Nice.
Okay,
Went
why
full
isn't this
car show
coming
with
up?
this thing, huh? We're also planning on building walls, basically to hide the compressor and all the electrical. So really, all you'll see is this middle section. We still have to build those, but we just
Yeah.
wanted to test the system for now. So
I'm going to shut the compressor off for now.
it sticks everywhere. Everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Wait, did you not tighten all
I
these?
tighten all of these.
All right, so everything's not as smooth as we hoped it would go. We got leaks everywhere.
Every single fitting,
Every-
literally every single fitting is leaking.
Yeah, and then we tried to tighten it, then the tank fell off the top, and now it's all...
just a mess.
Anyway, so we got these pretty close to hold some pressure, so now the tank is holding, 167 psi, so that's good. But we need to go through and get these all sealed up because these should never need to come out again. These we think we're going to have to pull out in the near future. So we're going to fill in...
We can control each wheel individually, right?
Yeah,
So
each
at
one
a
we could
time.
add pressure to, but our problem with our design here is that these are so tight together that we can't get to these to tighten them
Yeah, with the wrench.
because it's so close. So,
That's
when
how
they
confident we were in our
say function over form, guys, function over form. So we have to take off these side ones so we could get to the center ones. So we're going to start by pressuring these guys up. So that would be like the rears, and you can
hear it right away.
Oh, this is probably our best one, actually.
Oh yeah,
This
so
one
rear
leaks the slowest,
Okay,
but
good.
here,
What about the other one?
Yeah,
No, you can
that's-
hear it right. Go.
that's
Go again.
another one? Man, it sounds like it's
Yeah,
down
it
here.
seems like I think most of our leaks are coming on the. Maybe the push fittings are not in all the way.
Oh. Shit, this is the loose one that spins. So I think
Yeah.
that's...
Okay. So we got some work to do. We're gonna tighten all of these up here, make sure nothing's leaking there, and then we'll hit it at the bottom where we have those small elbows. But oh, you can release the pressure like that. Nice. Blow off valve.
Yeah, this is my cheap turbo, right?
But you know, it looks like everything is working as intended, except
Yeah.
for the leaks.
Yeah.
We also have some leaks going to the. It looks like the pressure switch. So we got a bunch of tightening to do, but hopefully we'll be able to get all that tight and
do air
test it.
suspension.
Do air
they
suspension
said
stuff, right?
it would be cool. They said.
Literally,
Actually, no one
no
said
one said
that.
that.
Nobody said that.
One eternity later.
We've been tightening and loosening. The first one we've been working on, we've seen that some anaerobic sealer seems to work well in these joints.
Yeah, we also
And then-
stopped using Teflon tape and
Yeah,
we went with the
switched.
good old sealer paste.
But
That seemed to do the trick.
all right, next one. All right, there we go. Everything is sealed up. So the secret really is putting pipe sealer
Magic
on
paste. Where is it? I don't know.
every freaking joint. I don't
Yeah,
know where it is.
basically, every time you have one of those ferrules, just
Yeah, just put it everywhere. Just
everywhere. Yeah.
be liberal with it, all the joints. But now everything is sealed up. We're actually having a hell of a time getting this. This was our last one, and no matter what we do, it wouldn't seal. We made up a new pipe, still wouldn't seal. Turns out the fitting itself actually cracked the whole way through. So we were tightening it, loosening it, putting new pipes, and it kept leaking under here. It felt like everywhere, and that was what it was.
Yeah.
So
Holding zero pressure, that thing.
thanks to Mr. Bezos, he got one us overnighted to us. So we got it in here, sealed up real nice. Now we
Right.
can pressurize the system. Watch this.
Send it.
So there's different settings. We got to set these, but ready? So now they're all at,
About 28.
yeah, we're trying to keep it at 30 PSI on each corner. Pump kicked on, but
No leaks.
no
basically.
leaks.
Everything's
No
holding
hissing,
pressure.
no leaking. It's gonna be cool. So now we can set it down.
Let's set it down on the ground
And
finally.
this is my favorite part. Oh yes. Air out, baby.
So now we can finally set this thing down on the ground.
What? We need some
And
wheels and tires.
that's right. We have something special to show you guys.
Ooh, buddy.
Here they are. Our wheels and tires are in and fully mounted. They look amazing. So these are custom CNC cut forged wheels. These look amazing. These are 21" by 10 in the rear, 21 by 9 in the front. So that's basically as big as we could go to fit and look right. We wanted to make sure the fitment was perfect. And of course, we didn't skimp out on the tires. We went with Michelin Pilot Super Sports. Basically, without getting into the Cup 2s, these are the best street tires you can put on the vehicle. One of the good things we liked about the Michelin Pilot Sports is that they have this like very rounded shoulder, which is very like a GT-ish, race car look. So we think this came out amazing. After the render reveal, we were a little skeptical on how the wheels
Yeah,
would
you
look.
can say that again.
Right? We got hammered for this design, but honestly, looking at them in real life, mounted on the vehicle, like these were the right choice. 100%. They look amazing. They are directional, so these go this way on the left side. The other side, they're flipped, so it looks right on both sides of the vehicle. And the cherry on top, which was unexpected, these hubcaps are actually billet aluminum. So that's a new thing for me. I didn't even know that was a thing. But they look amazing. They fit great with the wheels. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that's the fact that we have no
Where are the
brakes.
brake calipers, man?
Yeah, so the brake calipers, we ran into a little bit of an issue, and We had some contamination in the powder. We couldn't really see it in the basement. When we brought him in here, we saw a little bit of pink in the calipers.
This guy's shooting his
I was
purple.
shooting some other project that you might see in the channel later. I don't know. But we were unsure as to whether we were going to go with it or not. But during the assembly of the calipers, the brake fluid started creating a lot of what's it called? Crazing. So we saw a lot of hairline cracks on the clear, which means we just hadn't baked it for long enough. Jack took one of the calipers, put it in the oven again, and pink came out from every single cavity in the caliper. So basically, we ended up stripping the calipers completely, and this is how they look again. So we're stripping them all completely. We've ordered new powder, new clear, make sure it's uncontaminated this time.
We'll get it right this time, right?
Yeah, so we just wanted to make sure it looks good. No purple or pink on the calipers. We'll get those on for the next video. But with the brakes on here, I mean, right now they're not painted, but it just completes the look. And the fronts look even better. So get ready for that. Yeah, so now basically it's time to set the car down on the ground for the very first time with the right wheels and tires, with the air suspension working. So let's set this thing down and see what it looks like.
Here we go.
All right. You set it to
how many months, dude?
months. It's been months. First time setting it on the ground with wheels and tires.
We're at, should be pretty slammed, I think. I don't know.
50 psi is the max preset it has. Shoo. We're clear on the other side, right?
Yeah.
What gap do we have? Ooh. Scrubbing. Oh, that's 50 right there?
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, okay. Honestly, that's decent. Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that fitment. Choo-wee. Wow, that's a lot faster than I expected. Jesus. What is that?
Oh my god, I'm gonna melt.
This guy has been wanting air suspension on this thing forever.
That's 120.
120?
Yeah, which I think is okay, because this you're never gonna ride around like
No, that's like off-road. Go to like 30.
20.
I don't know.
That's 20.
That's 20? That's basically exactly that's basically as low as they can get, right?
I think
It's fully, the tire is tucked.
Yeah,
It's kind of resting on the fender already. We can't really go any lower, but even that, I mean, look at that stance right there.
man.
Shoo!
Oh man, that's good. Hold on.
That thing looks sick. Even in the front, dude, like, whoo, buddy. You know what's funny? They're 21-inch wheels, but they don't look that big, right, on the car.
They definitely don't look like they're huge.
They fit the car
Yeah.
perfect. Wow. So this is gonna be the SEMA stands,
Yeah.
car show stands.
This is the hater stance.
Yeah.
Don't stagger. Don't air it out. Don't.
I mean,
it's not that. It's
Yeah,
not as low as
clearly it's not as low as the render. And the intention was never to drop it that low because it's physically not possible. Let's do that outside because I don't want the hoist in the way. There it is, outside.
so sick, dude.
Stance
This is
looks
like
amazing.
70 psi in the bag,
That's
so
like
it looks
ride height,
yeah.
maybe.
The front goes lower than we expected. I think when we were on the hoist.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
keeping it from
bottoming it
coming
out,
down
so
because
you-
the bumper or the chin spoiler rests right on the ground, but it's
Yeah.
not like locking, right?
No, it's not.
actually.
Yeah, it's not touching,
It's
but
like perfect. Air
Mm.
suspension, wheels and tires. I think
I think we did it.
good combination.
Yes,
Good
I
combination.
think
I
it's-
can't wait for you guys to see it in real life. It's just
It looks.
in the render it
sick.
didn't show. In real life, it's like a completely different thing. This is really great fitment. Tires, the wheels look great.
Yeah. Can't wait to get the rest of the kit, the bumper on there, the wing, dude.
Yeah, so now we got basically fully assembly mode at this point.
So I mean, next is we're gonna drag this thing, right?
That's right. All right, so we have a couple things we have to finish before we can actually drive the car for the first time. It's sitting on the ground, it's looking great, but we've made a list here of needs and wants.
What happened to our
for the
cardboard
first,
list? Dude?
Yeah, we've upgraded to a slightly used dry erase. So this is the list of things we need to do before we have our first drive. We gotta finish the brakes, bleed all the lines. We have to install the clutch line, bleed that. We have a aluminum flywheel we're gonna throw in this thing for those
lightweight,
high
dude.
revs. We got a clutch
Yeah, it's
we're
had
gonna
a
throw in
steel
there.
flywheel on this thing and
Yeah,
revving
I know.
that hard. Wait till we put
So
that
wait till
aluminum
we put
on.
the aluminum one on. We have a drive shaft we have to get, so we have to measure that out. We have to finish the fuel system. We got to clean up the lines. We have a fuel filter and the breather we got to throw in there. The cooling system still kind of just, put together, so we're going to clean that up, get the fans working. We have to mount the brake switch because we need brake lamps to go out in the street, so we'll get that done. And obviously we have fluids. We got to change the diff fluid because that's been there since whenever that rear
I
end
think
came.
it's empty.
Is it empty?
I feel like it. I thought,
We'll check that. And then the trans is empty, so we definitely need to add some fluid in there. And the most important one, we'll check because we haven't torqued anything on the suspension or inside, so we're gonna make sure everything is fully mounted. And then once is stuff that, if we have time, we'll do it. We're not gonna take another 2 months to drop a video, so.
You say that now.
Just, body, like we want to maybe mount the rear wing, the bumpers, intake piping, we have nothing yet. We'd like to rev above 4,000. We haven't been able to successfully do that yet. And obviously burnouts, catch can exhaust, that's all stuff we'll get through if we have time. But yeah, so we have a lot of things to do in the next couple of weeks before we drop the next video and get this thing on the road. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks to AAD for all the cool suspension links. Check them out, their link is in the description. We'll see you guys on the next one.